Okay, so I'm very excited to talk to you guys about how to find the area and the perimeter of composite figures. That is what the title is going to be for this page. You will need this handout, and you will need probably a couple of highlighters, or you could use colored pencils or crayons, something very soft, and you don't have to use anything at all if you don't want to. It is important, however, the layout of this page. You need to put your title all the way up against the very top edge, and then you're going to take this paper. You're going to trim around this middle section. Notice that you cut into the curve a little bit past and then cut it out. The reason for that is it allows you to lock your page in. See, I'm going to fold on the crease at the top and bottom, and then once it's folded, these two little circles will kind of come together and lock, so you need to cut it a little bit. I added area formulas on the outside after it's folded and glued in. And guys, listen, I almost glued it in upside down, so be very careful. Make sure you glue it in. But your page will not fit unless you push this as far to the top as you can. I'm even going to show you that I have the top of my thing past this hole. It is halfway into the top margin. Even then, I'm a little concerned about having space, because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut out problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, don't try to carefully cut around. That's a waste of time. This is going to be a long video and you have a lot to do. So just kind of cut it roughly out, and then when you glue it in, the white excess that's around your shapes won't really show. Also, lay it out where you can work the problem down and have plenty of space underneath each, and then we'll work this problem across the bottom. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have enough space, use 2 pages for this, because you don't want to crowd things up too much. All right. The last thing I'm going to tell you is you're going to glue this down, and then we're going to find the area of problems 1, 2, and 4, but we're going to find the area and the perimeter of figure 3. The reason we're not doing perimeter of 1, 2, and 4 is because we have some slanted sides that are not labeled. You can use the Pythagorean theorem and make some right triangles, but that is a pre-algebra skill. If you work ahead and later you want to learn how to do that, I can come up with some problems for you on that. But for 7th grade, we don't need to worry about that. All right, here we go. I'm very excited. I did grab some highlighters just in case I decide to use them. I am going to use a pen just so it'll show up a little bit better on camera, although you know that you need to be using a pencil. Let's look at our area formulas first of all. If I have any kind of a triangle, okay, and my triangle can look all various ways. If it has 3 sides and it's a closed figure, it's a triangle. I can always find the area by finding the base and the true height, not the slant, but the straight up and down perpendicular corner. That's the height. Multiply them and divide by 2. Now you could also take 1/2 of one of the numbers and multiply it to the other, whichever is easier for you, but if you're using a calculator, it's easier to just hit divide by 2. Any parallelogram where opposite sides are equal and parallel, whether it's a rectangle, square, or a slanted parallelogram like this, is still base times height. Again, height is the straight up and down, never the slant. We've just learned trapezoids, and that was a lot of fun. Height, which is the distance between the bases, plus the sum of the bases divided by 2. And I did write the other formula of 1/2 height times the sum of the bases. We are not going to use circles or semicircles, which means the half circle, in composite figures, but you will have to learn it eventually, and some of you may be wanting some challenging problems, and so I want you to have this resource handy. All right, you can lock up your formulas to get them out of the way, and let's look at problem number 1. Problem number 1 can be done 2 different ways. It is a trapezoid, so you could see this as a figure that has 2 bases, base 1 and base 2, and they are parallel. So then the height would just be the straight up and down, the distance between the two. So you can have a base of 12, and you can have your height of 12 and your two bases here. But for this base, it would be 14 plus 8. So I am actually, even though this is a composite figure of a rectangle and triangle, I'm going to use the trapezoid formula and do that the height times the sum of the bases all over 2. And that will give me all at once the entire figure of a trapezoid. I don't have to divide it into 2, and it's a little easier. So again, my height is 12. The top base is 14, but the bottom base is 14 plus 8. Now I'm assuming that you don't need a calculator for 14 plus 8. That would be 22, but there is no shame in using that calculator if you need to. 14 plus the 8 gives you that bottom base all over 2. Now, I am not embarrassed to say that I am absolutely going to use a calculator to solve this problem because it's faster. So, you can use the golden calculator if you want to. I'm going to do 12 times the sum of 14 and 22 all over 2. And I'm going to get 216. And this is going to be centimeters squared. Okay? So I used a golden calculator to put it in all at one time. Now, if you don't have a golden calculator, you know that you can do that by saying 12 times and 14 plus 22 is 36 all over 2. And you can multiply 12 times 36 and get 432 all over 2, which would be 216. You could reduce one of those we can just do it lots of different ways. That's where math gets fun. You get to choose what's easiest for you. All right, let's look at this. There's no shortcut. This is not a trapezoid. It is going to have to full on be two different figures. So I have a triangle and I have a rectangle. So I need to have the formulas for both. The formula for triangle is base times height divided by 2. And this will get me my yellow triangle. But I also am going to have to add to that my house portion. If this is the roof, this would be like the house, this rectangle here, which the area here is just base times height. So I can see in my figure that this is 8. So this also must be 8. They've given me from the top of the roof straight down is 12. So if I know that this part is an 8, right? Then what plus 8 is 12? That's right, 4. So the height of my triangle or my roof is 4. The height of my house portion is 8. So together it's 12. Also, if the base of my rectangle is 24, then what is the base of my triangle? Again, 24. I have everything I need labeled. I'm ready to go. The area of my triangle is base, which is 24, times my height, which is 4, all over 2. So use your calculator. 24 times 4 is 96. Divide by 2 is 48. So the area of the triangle is 48. Let's look at the house. It's a straight base times height. So 24 times, what is the height of just the rectangle? It is A8. Very good. And 24 times 8 is 192 units square. These are both units square. So now what are you going to do? I know that the yellow portion is 48. I know the orange portion is 192. That's correct. I'm going to add them together. 192 plus 48 gives me a total of 240. And instead of units, I can see here it's feet. Feet squared. So my area is 240 feet squared. I just add them together. Okay, so I'm going to have to be very conscious of my space because I need to work an area and a perimeter question here. So looking at the figure, there are a lot of ways that you can divide this up. I'm going to divide it this way. You could have gone across, of course, if you wanted. I'm going to stick to the same two colors. I'm going to say the smaller portion is my orange, and the larger rectangle is my yellow. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label and find all of my missing sides. I know that this total height is 8. So if I was to extend this outside, it should be 8. This far is 4. So even though this looks like it's shorter, I know that 4 and 4 is 8. So this is not drawn to scale. But since this is 4, then this must be an additional 4 right there to make a total of 8. Okay? I know the total base is 5. If this far is 3, 3 plus what would give me 5? That's right, 2. So this must be a 2. Now I have all of my sides. I can find the perimeter. The perimeter being adding all the sides. I'm going to highlight as we go. 5, 8, 3. I'm going to add them all up. 4, 2, 4. Awesome. So now all you have to do is add that all up. 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. 26. So my perimeter is 26, and for precision, let's label centimeters. Now perimeter is not squared because it's not an area. So let's look now at the area of figure 3. The area of my orange portion, remember, which is base times height. I know that my height is 4 and my base is what? Can you see? That's right, it's a 2. So what is the area of my orange section? 8. 8 centimeters square. Let's look at the area of my yellow section. The area of my yellow section, the height is a full 8. But what was the base? It's not 5, that's the whole thing. That's right, look up here. It was a 3. So 3 times 8 is 24 centimeters squared. So my orange and my yellow together, my 8 plus my 24, 32 centimeters square. I'm just going to add them together. Excellent. We're doing so good. We are down to our last problem. Okay? Looks really hard and complicated, but you're going to see that it's not. And I'm so glad we have 3 different colors. So I'm going to highlight my yellow and my rectangle of orange. And then, I don't know if you remember what this called, opposite sides are parallel and equal. This is a parallelogram. So just like if it was a square or a rectangle, parallelogram has equal opposite sides. So if this side is a 9, then this side would be a 9. Okay? So if this was a 3, this is a 9. I've got what I need. I know that this is 7. If this is 9 here, then what is this? That's right, a 9. So for my triangle, okay, when area is base times height over 2, my base of my triangle, and if you need to, you can kind of turn it and see that your triangle has a base of 9 and the height of 7. Yeah, so I can see that the base is 9, the height is 7, all over 2, and I can solve that in a minute. Then I have my rectangle in orange here, and I know that the area of my rectangle here is just base times height. So I know that you can say that the base, whichever way you look at it, is 3 times 9 or 9 times 3. I'm going to say that the base is the 3 and the height is the 9. Okay? And so all I have to do is multiply that out. 3 times 9, let's just do that really quick. 27. And there's not labeled, so we're just going to put units squared. And then here, we can say 9 times 7 is 63. And 63 divided by 2, you can use your calculator, is 31.5 units squared. So I've got the triangle, I've got the rectangle in orange. Let's talk about our parallelogram. Our parallelogram is the same as a rectangle or a square, it's just base times height. You know that it's sitting on the base of, say, a 9. We're going to figure out this height, guys. We know that we can extend this dotted line, keep it perpendicular, keep it a straight line, all the way is 16. So if we have 16, from here to here is 7, from here to here is 3. So from here all the way to here is 10, 7 plus 3. So if the full distance is 16 and this far is 10, okay, from here to here is 10, what we need to figure out is that, and I'm going to highlight this, this might be a very good visual aid. We have 7 plus 3, so we have 10, and we need to know what the rest of that distance is. Well, 10 plus what is 16? That's right, 6. So our height of our parallelogram is 6. 9 times 6, 54 units squared. So now what? We have our yellow, our orange, and our purple. Exactly. All we have to do is add them together. So add 31.5 plus 27 plus 54, and you get 112.5 units squared. I hope that you were able to do this nice and neat. I hope that I could answer questions if you have any. I'm so proud of you. Look at this beautiful page that we now have done. So be sure you have your title, you've put it in your table of contents, you've numbered your page, it may or may not be 51 this year, that you've got your formula page ready to go as a reference if you need it, and then you have your 4 examples. All right, guys, super proud of you. I hope that you are enjoying this lesson. If you have any questions, see me and we'll talk about it.